My name is Hayv Kahraman. I am an artist based in Los Angeles. I was a refugee who fled the first Gulf War in Iraq to Europe. And I did this journey via plane and foot. In a way that felt as precarious as it is that this journey is, it felt somewhat safer than being at sea, stranded on a boat. I immediately started thinking about the immigration politics in and around Australia. And of course, a lot of people come in via plane, but there's also a large amount who do a sea crossing, right? I mean, not only is journeying via sea violent, right, and precarious, but again, for me, I go back to what happens to these migrants who drown. What happens to these bodies? Do they just dissipate in the waters? Do they disappear? This is where I started thinking about the need to inject some sort of hope, right? So you'll see in the work these multi-species hybrid creatures that are, this amalgamation of a drowned migrant with the immortal jellyfish. The immortal jellyfish, of course, is this incredible little plankton that is about 1 centimeter in size. But most importantly, it has the ability to regenerate itself into a younger version of itself, right? So when it reaches old age, it can regenerate its body. And it would live forever, right? Roaming the oceans. It was first discovered in the Mediterranean, and it now is all over the world because it has traveled via these ballast ships and cargo ships, not too dissimilar to the ones that the migrants use. So these figures are engulfed by this substrate that resembles a seascape or possibly biological tissue. And this is done by a technique that I used in the studio that is marbling. That is essentially the dipping of the canvas into a large bath of water in which I have sprinkled pigment. So the pigment floats on the water, and the canvas is then dipped, and you have a monoprint. Creating this work has been very different from how I usually approach painting. These works were created in the studio first, right? So the marbling occurred there. The hybrid creatures were somewhat forming in the studio, and then these panels were shipped to the MCA and hung, and then of course there was a large scaffolding, and so I started working here. And every day I'd come in and look out the window and see the water and see the ships and see the people, and that somehow really influenced the work. It was incredibly emotional. I mean, there were times where I had to stop and really gather myself and in order to continue.